Supplementary.
Call Stuart Nash.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, there are a couple of things that the Minister said, and one in particular I agree with her actually. She said that this bill won't solve child poverty. It is not the panacea to solve all the ills that are facing our children today. And Mr. Chair, she's right. But this is not what this bill is about, Mr. Chair. There is no magic bullet to actually solve child poverty, but this is a start. This is all that is. This is a start. And Mr. Chair, the Minister actually said that the government, she thought the government had it about right in what it was doing. But the interesting thing is, Mr. Chair, is Professor Gluckman, UNICEF, Human Rights, Commissioner for Children, LRO, and I can go on, actually do not agree with the Minister. And the thing is, Mr. Chair, is these people are experts in their field. These people know what they're talking about and they're evidence-based. They have massive budgets to investigate this sort of thing and they understand what they're talking about. And with all due respect to the Minister, Mr. Chair, these are the experts in this area and they say that the national government hasn't got this right and that Sue Moroney has. Now, Mr. Chair, the world has changed. You know, I was very lucky. I was born a long time ago. But when I was growing up, Mr. Chair, it was an era where it was almost expected that the man of the house, the father, would go out and earn money and the mother would stay at home looking after children. That's what happened in my family and it's what happened with all my friends. When we got home from school, our mothers were there. But as society has changed over the last 41 years since I was born, 43 years since I was born, as society has changed, we really haven't changed with it. And the Labor government brought in paid parental leave in 2004, and goodness me, did we get hell from the national opposition. But it was necessary, and since 2004, the world has changed even more, Mr. Chair. 10 years on, out of economic necessity, what we're finding is actually a lot of women, after giving birth, have to go back to work. It's not their choice, they have to, because if they didn't, they just could not provide. And that is a completely different situation than it was a generation ago. And so what we have to do as a government, as a parliament, is accept the world has changed and deal with the reality. The interesting thing is, in question time today, Mr. English made a very interesting point. I can't remember who asked him the question, but someone did, and he said, this government makes policy based on the evidence. Well, Mr. Chair, this isn't a political bill. This isn't a bill that Sue Moroney dreamed up because she thought she could get some votes for it. This is a bill that should be bipartisan. It should be one of these things where we come together as a parliament and really work hard because we know it is the right thing to do. And you know, sometimes, Mr. Chair, I firmly believe as a parliament, we actually have to look and ask ourselves, what is the right thing to do? And if it is the right thing to do, then we do it. And there is a cost to this. I acknowledge this. You know, there is an expense, and it is an expense at a time when the government has limited money. And the government has a responsibility to allocate that money in a way that best meets the outcomes of the citizens it represents. But let me give you one example, Mr. Chair, and I'm unsure how Peter Dunn is voting on this. I'm not too sure. But he took a bill to select committee on income splitting that was going to cost $500 million on income splitting. And we turned that down at FEC because, you know, it was unsustainable. But what it did is it benefited those who really didn't need it, didn't benefit those at the lower end. But this actually does. And I sincerely hope, Mr. Chair, that Peter Dunn does support this, because remember, he was the man that set up the Commissioner for Children. So this is vitally important to actually moving forward as a society, and it is evidence-based. The other thing is, it's about helping those who live in poverty, Mr. Chair. Those are the ones who are actually going to benefit from this. We have been criticised by none other than UNICEF. We all hold the United Nations up, well, most of us hold up the United Nations as an agency that is actually there to represent everyone across the globe. We sign up to nearly every single UN charter. We are huge supporters of the UN. But Mr. Chair, can I just quote what UNICEF has said its mission is, and it says, "We believe that nurturing and caring for children is the cornerstone for human progress," and they were created with this in mind. And let me quote what their mission is. UNICEF was created with this purpose in mind, to work with others.
Sorry to interrupt the member. His call is finished, and so is the bell.
Oh, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.